Welcome everyone to the show. Thank you
Hello.
all for tuning in tonight. We have a very special guest. We see him backstage. So in just a moment, we will be bringing you on up. Um, so real quick, there is a lot going on in chat right now. Like, holy cow. Bunnies, thank you so much for gifting me.
Yes.
I counted, I think, three memberships, and then we had another gift from Hillary. She also gifted a membership.
Aw.
That is so amazing. We appreciate all of you supporting us. We see a lot of shields out there, the new emojis being used. It's really cool to see. And before we get too far into this, we do have some big announcements for this week. I mean, we have so many new show or not new shows, but shows lined up.
It's
Uh,
been a
t-
lot. It's been
Tomorrow
a lot.
night, we do have a public show that we are doing with Brandon Vance, who is going to give a response to the accusations that have been thrown his way. So that'll be tomorrow night at 8, followed by a members only live, the first Real Talk members only live, where we are going to dive in and dissect some of the accusations tossed at us. So,
Sorry. Insert eye roll here. But yeah, but that'll be a fun time. So for any of you Real Talk members, we're looking forward to having you join us for that because it'll be a fun one. I mean, the subject matter is not the most fun, considering what he did and the reason why we all had to walk away. But
yeah,
again,
but
if
we're
you have
not
no
going
idea
to
what we're talking about,
good.
good.
um, Real quick, want to shout out some people here in chat. We got Brienne. I got it right this time. It's
Yes,
only
you
5
did.
episodes.
Yes.
Gabby, Random Girl, Wesley.
Stacy Lockwood.
Yeah, read some
Uh,
more.
I'm gonna read some. You can't read all of them. Carrie C. Taylor Tim. Um, Ben Simons. The Glue. That's an interesting name. A Burmese cat. Tiffany. Okay, you can take a few more.
Bees, D's.
There's a lot of people.
Donna, Art is in here. Yeah, there's so many people. If we missed you, I am so sorry. Hillary, Gabby, I think I already said that one.
Donna's just like we are all here. That's all we need to know is that everybody is here. You're all here, and hopefully, you guys have been following along in this series. What is this, part 4 or 5?
This is part 4, and Sunday part 5 will air. We had to pre-record because of scheduling issues with the holidays and whatnot. It was easier to pre-record that episode, and I will say that it is it's a very dark episode. There will be a lot of content warning throughout.
Sensitive subject matter, yeah.
Very sensitive subject matter. So it was kind of good that it was pre-recorded that way.
Yeah.
Because there was some things that we were asked to kind of cut up in that. So, but still, you will get the point across.
Yes,
Yeah.
and please, if you guys want to join us, we'll all be in chat. We're going to set it up as a premiere.
Yep.
So although it's not a live, it's a pre-recorded episode, we will all be in chat to help answer questions. I believe our interviewee will also be in chat with us. So turn on your notifications and try to join us if you guys want to be part of that real-time conversation. Sunday.
Boston, we don't have our guest for too long, so I want to bring him up. Talk to him. This is the man of the hour. Now, many of you may not have heard of this person before, but they were around from the beginning. I'm talking 2007.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring him up. Dino,
right?
How you doing today?
Good.
Hello, nice to talk to you again.
So, Dino, just so that I get correct, when was it that you were the first, right, working with Russ getting that haunt set up?
Yeah, pretty much.
And that was
he had it kind of already set up when I joined him, but I've been was there many years.
Okay, what year do you think it was that you started?
I want to say 2007, something like that.
2007, nice. And how long did you go for? I mean, we don't got to talk about why you left at this point, but how long were you there till?
I was there till 2012 when I left San Diego.
Hmm. Okay.
And now before we continue on with the questions for Dino, my question would be, have you ever met Josh Owens here, Dino? Have you guys ever met?
Oh,
Doesn't
so.
ring a bell.
So Josh did a series years ago. He was one of the first people to really bring attention to kind of the wrong goings on, with the manor, and did a bunch of interviews with a lot of past actors at the time. So I just wanted to make sure you guys
It's nice to meet you, Dino.
Hey, so how we came across Dino was a conversation with Carol. She pointed us in the direction and said, this might be a good person to talk to. And we did a phone call with Dino and a lot of interesting facts. Now, Dino is here to talk about the home haunt years because this will be the last episode of the home haunt years, pretty much. So this is going to be kind of like an overall recap episode for everybody and what we've seen leading up to the extreme experience.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, Boston. Why don't you take the floor?
Yeah, so we know you started like around 2007. And I guess my question, we talked about this when we talked on the phone, but it's a really interesting story. How you heard of the haunt in the first place, and how you started working there.
Well, how I heard of it is my wife at the time, she worked at a Postal Annex, like not that far down the street from where he lived. And he constantly went in there and like was shipping out stuff. So they got to talking and, they talked about the haunt, and my wife brought me, to him basically by saying, you should check this out. He's always looking for more people for that place. And I like to do haunted houses and stuff like that. And I always loved Halloween. So I went and checked them out. Right. And as soon as we met, we hit it off right off the bat. He saw me as this big 6 foot, 200 plus pound guy is the big scary guy and perfect for it.
Now, at the time, you were one of the only adults that were working the haunt, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And what was your primary job when the show was running?
So when I was running, I not only did I do, a lot of the different rooms. I was kind of like the dad in a way, keeping the kids in line and stuff like that, and making sure that they weren't doing the wrong thing to some of the, customers going through.
Okay.
So we interviewed Brendan, one of the child actors. He said he was 9 or 10 when he started volunteering to work there. Do you remember Brendan as one of the? Yeah.
But you know what? It was funny too, because after we talked, I did remember quite a few of the kids that worked there at the time.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if we have a list of names. I mean, as far as the minors go, we don't necessarily want to put any names out unless they've contacted us. But Brendan was a great interview and helped us kind of fill in what his role was. So he was the ghillie suit guy when he worked there for the year he worked there. And you were primarily the chainsaw guy, and then the doctor.
Yep, the doctor, the mad doctor, the autopsy room, and there was a few other rooms. I was kind of the doctor, but that was one of the places.
What was the age
we
range?
had like an acid room that I had a mask on and kind of splashed people in front of like a hazardous waste bucket. And
yep, I remember seeing that. What was the age range? In those kind of, we're going to call them your early years, because I know that the haunt, it started before you started working there. But in your early years working there, what was the age range in general as far as like who was coming through?
Most of the people coming through were pretty much high school and high middle school or something like that at first, and along with adults and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they worked for us, worked with us, I should say. They, at the time, they were, kind of like neighborhood kids and word of mouth kids you know, that were just getting ready to go into high school and stuff.
Right.
Now, in those early years, it was always a touch haunt in a way, but it was more so like pinching at the ankles and
Right. It was a soft touch. It was more of, yes, we could grab ankles from underneath the table, or we could reach through, the wall and grab them or something like that. But nothing really bad that we're grabbing and shaking or anything like that.
Sure. So around what time, what year did it start to escalate a little? Like when you first noticed that it was getting a little more intense.
Starting to get a little intense around 2011, 2012.
Okay.
And
That's
I
when you
think
did you notice any difference in Russ?
And taping them and stuff like that.
That's when the taping and all that started.
the hoods.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we documented the hood started in 2010. Became like a staple in 2011, and then like the taping we really saw in 2012. Sorry, Josh, what was your question?
Oh no, you're good. I was just wondering if there was a difference that you noticed in Russ from when before he was filming or after he was filming. Was there like a difference in his demeanor at all behind the camera or anything?
Again, at the beginning, he was doing some of the acting in the first few years that I was with him. After that, he strictly stuck behind the camera and did all the filming. He was pretty adamant about a lot of keeping the people kind of scaring them and stuff. But it didn't get really too bad until towards the final years there, where he started moving stuff towards I want to say the terrorist type attack stuff. Like he would bring someone into a room and tie them in there or whatever, and into a chair, and then he basically everybody would scream around the person or whatever, and he got off on it basically, and he's like, yeah, you keep going, do that, and it was like, Russ, this is kind of getting wrong,
Mm-hmm.
So
grabbing them, putting them in the water and everything. It's like, whoa.
So there wasn't that much enjoyment that you've seen before he started doing the more crazy stuff on the camera. He wasn't really into it like that, it seemed like.
No, he wasn't. He honestly, everything that we did, his main motto was, we don't do boo here in the hunt, but we do like to scare the people, and we like to scare the piss out of them.
Mm-hmm. So that was a big, I think that was a big, because even before it got like 2011, 2012, it was a really scary hunt. It was a good hunt for a lot of the years that you worked there. It was a good home boo hunt. It really was a boo hunt. He hates that word, but you're not the first to say that.
Yeah, it won 2 awards, like almost 2 years in a row. Best hunt in the country. So it was good.
So,
oh, sorry, Kris.
Before we get into that 2011, 2012 year, why don't we have a clip from the Travel Channel, because I believe you were kind of responsible for them getting some of these haunt awards and that. And we kind of just want to watch it with you, and maybe certain things you can point out to us that maybe you were responsible for. And feel free to talk over this too.
No problem.
So this got broadcast in 2013, but this was filmed prior.
What you're about to see is the Travel Channel Halloween Craziest episode.
Can you move him over? Okay, there you go.
Manor. Now the footage was from last year, so all you folks coming this year, once the new haunt is rebuilt, it's going to be completely new.
So what year was this?
I guarantee you.
This would be 2012.
3-hour
okay.
Customized, personalized haunt experience. Reservations only. So contact me for those. We'll get you all hooked up. One note that the footage you're about to see, it's taken from the TV. I actually had to video the TV, so the footage is not the greatest quality in the world. So that's my bust,
All right.
and there you go. So that's my excuse on the picture quality. All right, so enjoy. We'll see you.
So this was a Travel Channel special. This was actually my first glimpse at McKamey Manor when this aired originally.
In a quiet residential neighborhood in San Diego, there's a nondescript house hiding a horrifying secret. It's known as McKamey Manor, the most outrageous amateur home haunt in the country.
If you don't know
Was that you?
Was that you?
and you see it from the front, you're
Yeah.
gonna think
Yeah.
it's your standard basic little garage hunt, and it is not. Get your hands down!
I got you! No! No!
Haunt creator
Coffin was actually a ride that you got in. It was pretty cool.
The coffin ride,
Yeah,
yeah.
Chris has been in one of those
This is a
before.
very expensive.
Like the same prop.
transforming 1,600 feet plus the garage into pro-level torture chambers with animatronics, CGI, and special effects.
Get your hands in there! Quit your crying!
As an amateur, McKamey gets away with stunts that are off limits to the pros.
Go here! Look at me! Look at me! Most haunts you cannot touch, you cannot grab. So I don't mind being called an amateur haunt because that gives me
So this is the
more
stuff.
leeway to do all this great stuff.
Were you talking, Dino? Sorry, can you pause it, Chris?
Yeah.
Pops out behind the bushes.
On the tape there, and that's where he started to get into
Right.
taping.
So I want to remind our viewers that as we're watching this, this was Dino's last year working the haunt, was 2012, when we're gonna hear from him as to why
A little later.
a little later. Yeah, so just keep that in mind.
You know, it's interesting that they literally said that, you know, he got away with certain things because he was labeled an amateur. I wonder if that plays into a lot of things that's to come, I guess.
He uses that himself often.
Well,
Everything's
some-
legal because this is a home haunt.
City never came and inspected or that.
Yeah, the city never came in and did inspections.
Yeah, never did electrical inspection, never did any kind of safety inspection or anything.
Wow, okay.
So during the years you worked there, at least. I know there was some after you had left, but that's interesting, all that time.
If I was in there, I would be freaking out.
So did you ever see Russ go through? I know that he tells everybody that he never goes through it. Did he ever test anything out on himself?
No. No, he just
Did he test new things out?
Say it again.
Did he test new things out on his own actors or something, or did he just put something together and then throw it in the haunt?
He kind of threw it together, tested it out on us, and then we did it.
When you
No,
say tested it out on us, do you mean also the kids?
Yeah.
I would assume, right? Because you were probably one of the only adults other than Russ and Carol who worked it.
Pretty much.
September and October, lasting till 10 at night. Neighbors have made peace with the mayhem.
Maybe the first couple of years it was a little weird, you know, and a little, oh my gosh, is that someone really screaming? But till 10 o'clock at night, you watch TV, you just sort of get used to it and just go with the flow.
This is my passion. I love it. If I didn't have this, I wouldn't be the happy-go-lucky guy I am.
1 minute after 10 o'clock, and he's got phone calls.
Really?
Interesting.
Funny.
Like
So
the neighbors knew. They were like 10 p.m. We're gonna call if we still hear stuff. Yeah.
I found something interesting at the end. Russ said, you know, if I didn't have this, I wouldn't be the happy-go-lucky guy I am. And I find that true with what we see now. Like, he needs that outlet. He needs, for whatever darkness is in him, to let it out. And that's what we see in these, as you call them, Dino, these terrorist type tours. So how many awards did this place win when it was a legit good boo haunt?
2.
Nice.
2.
Okay.
2.
And what were those? Do you remember by chance?
Best haunt in the country.
Wow.
So is it fair
mean-
to say that how do you feel about the fact that he used that notoriety for something that you helped to build and work on for all those years and were proud of, to then flip the script and do what he did with it?
You know, I was kind of in shock when I saw that he was, going away from the actual the haunt side of stuff. I mean, every year he wanted to change it up a little bit. Understandable. You don't want to become stagnant, So he changed it up a little bit. Like one year we had like the roving asylum Mary,
Yeah.
we had that, and then the next one, it would be different. Each year it'd be just a little bit different. We change up the rooms a little bit, change them around. But then, after with the 2011, we had the train. 2012, we moved into putting the chair in there because the train went away, and that's when he started with the tape and putting somebody in the chair, and we had like a big saw, as you saw in the video.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reached across and kind of rolled in your face and kind of looked like it was going to cut you.
So you worked with them all these years. The tape, the hood, the water. Well, I mean, there was always water, but the pool, let's say, that stuff wasn't around. So how did he introduce it to you? Like, how did he bring this to the table as this is what we're doing?
Honestly, the pools were out there because of the dogs he had and stuff like that. But as people started going through them and stuff, they either fall into them or whatever. And he got the bright idea. Oh, let's put him in there. Let's put him in there.
So it's kind of like a progression, almost accidental for some of these things.
Sorta.
When did, was there a moment where he was like, hey, Dino, kids, we're going to start binding people now? Or was that also just something that he pulled out the duct tape one night? Like, how did that come about?
Pulled that out and, introduced that and said, hey, we're going to start tying them up and stuff like that. And it's like, it doesn't make sense why you would, but, he wanted to do that. And it's like, okay, let's see where this goes.
So who would do the binding? Would it be one of the kids, or would it be Russ? Would it be you?
Russ never did any of that stuff because he was all behind the camera. It was one of us that did it. One of either the high schoolers or one of the I think we had another adult there at the time too. So
okay, so there was another adult. Do you remember that adult's name by chance?
Dallas.
Okay. All right. And so I want to talk about the pools. What was some of the things that you saw that happened with the pool that was just too much for you?
All right. So mind you, these are like the little plastic kiddie pools that are like a couple inches deep, but he'd put the people in it, in their hands and knees. He'd put their head into the water, and mind you, these people have like the black hood over their head, and they're putting them in the water face first and stuff like that. And it's almost, to me, it was like, hey, what the hell? You're like waterboarding them here.
Mm-hmm. So when you say they would put their heads, I'm assuming you mean the actors, and I'm assuming you're only meaning the adults would do this, right?
Actors, yeah, the actors were putting the actual people coming through into the water.
And was that just the adult actors doing that?
No, it was the high schoolers too.
Wow.
And were they doing that on their own, or was this a direction that Russ was giving?
A little bit of both.
So I do And I'll let you ask a question real quick, Josh, but I just have a quick question about your, because you've used the word like terroristic before. We've talked about torture before, prisoners of war. I don't know if you want to share personally, maybe why that gave you a bad taste in your mouth from the very, very start of starting to see those signs.
Well, my background is I'm a 20-year veteran in the Navy. I retired in 2008, and you know, you learn about that stuff in the military. You learn how to survive it and stuff like that. But it's crazy. I mean, not just that, you see it in all the movies and stuff. You could tell anybody getting grabbed or anything like that. That's terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
You
we
know?
thank you of course for your service. And it's just an interesting, because of course Russ was in the Navy, right?
Yeah.
And then I believe also the other adult actor that you mentioned by name earlier also had military background.
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah, so it's just interesting to look at how some people kind of use that in one way, and some people look at it and they're like, why would you ever want to recreate this? Now, with extreme haunts in general, there are plenty of extreme haunts that simulate these kind of experiences, but in safe settings, not in someone's backyard with a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah, not where you're taping them up or anything or binding them.
All right, sorry, Josh, I'll let you take the floor.
Oh no, you're good. So I guess I have two questions now. The first one, before I forget it, during your whole time working there, what did you ever see anyone there, or did you guys have a plan in case someone got hurt, or was there any type of like a health professional on site in case someone did get hurt?
The health professional was basically us. You know, with me in the military, I always had my CPR qualification up to date and stuff like that. So I was always there to help if need be. And we always kept an eye on the people if they needed help or anything like that. We stopped what we were doing, we pulled them out, and and saw that if they were okay. It wasn't towards the later years where he just didn't give a shit and just kept them going through.
Well, it's comforting to know at least someone there knew what they were doing at that point. I'm sorry, Chris, what were you saying?
I was just going to say real quick, we have Brendan, one of the former child actors here in chat, says he thinks he recognizes you, and that's probably because he does. Brendan, this is Dino.
Yeah, and we've spoken with, I don't know if we spoke with Brendan about you, but we did speak with another one of the child actors about you who had nothing but good things to say about you. What makes me, so I guess maybe we can turn the conversation to kind of like, how was your personal relationship with Russ as the years went on?
Before we go there,
okay,
real quick, I do want to address this comment in chat because I don't want people to think what Dino thought was acceptable. They said, do you think because you were in the service, it didn't seem so crazy for waterboarding someone? Now, your views on that were completely different, correct?
Correct. I wasn't for it. I was the one trusting, hey, what the hell are you doing? I was not for that at all.
I kind of want to touch on that before we moved on. Like the other question I had was, did you guys ever, you, Dallas, and Russ, did you guys ever like talk about you guys' service, or did any ideas from any future parts of the haunt come from any discussions you guys had just coming up with, like military type ideas, or was it just kind of?
We all knew each other's military background. As for like different aspects, doing like a military room or anything like that, not really. Just a little bit in some of the rooms. There was some added, but other than that, there was no direct military room.
Will you notice, and now I'm wondering if maybe it was Dallas, because you notice in a lot of the clips from the 2012 year and 2011, the kind of like the yelling, the in the face, kind of like the drill sergeant, boot camp style. To your memory, when did Dallas start?
Dallas was there, I want to say about 2011.
Okay.
You know,
And is that kind of when, because we would see obviously yelling in people's faces, that was part of the but in character, yeah. That's when after he joins, we start to see the like get down on your hands and knees and crawl, like that kind of stuff. Is that fair to say that that started after he joined?
pretty fair. Yep.
Okay, interesting.
Thank you, Dallas. I mean, Boston, I could not. That's what I was like trying to ask, but I just couldn't get it out right.
So, Boston, you had a really good question before we kind of backtracked a little, and that was, what was your relationship with Russ outside of, besides just working in the haunt?
Other than working in the haunt, I was, you know, there to help, you know, maybe brainstorm some of the rooms, help build some of the rooms, and I was kind of the muscle for him, you know, to move some of the new props or any, or you know, and set them up. Other than that, you know, we never went out to dinners or anything like that. We never hung out that or anything. It was all strictly haunt
Related, yeah.
Yep.
Now, I assume just, of course, because of Carol's involvement too, that you got to know Carol as well through this.
Yes.
So you got to know Carol and Russ as people and haunt related. Carol,
I knew Otter. I knew his son.
Okay, so you did get to meet the kids. That's right, because
Yep. Lynn worked with us a little bit, and his son also did for a little bit in the beginning.
Okay, and then they stopped coming around, correct? Did he ever talk to you about why that was?
No, they just left it as their mother didn't want them to, or they didn't feel like it anymore.
Mm-hmm. And then how was like Carol and Russ's relationship as far as they're working together on the haunt?
They worked okay in the haunt, but they honestly their relationship started degrading after, you know, I want to say like 2009, 2010 it started to degrade.
So I'm seeing some comments in chat, and you as somebody that was close to Russ back then, wondering why the use of water. Was this something that Russ had a fear himself of, or why did he choose that as his like primary weapon, which he still does today?
Well, different parts of the haunt, it made for good show, you know, like in the let's say the acid room, big vat, big huge drum of acid, and it was actually just tap water that was in there, and you know, I'd stick my hand in there thinking that, you know, it's frying, you know, or, you know, stuff like that. And then I'd splash people with it. You know, it's good for a good scare and whatever. We also had the drop bridge where people would kind of crawl in, look up, and there'd be spikes above them. And spikes would come down. Yeah, it'd be water balloons that'd be popping up.
Yeah, right. And those are great scares and great uses of water.
Right.
Where I go to is like the
pool.
Yeah, the pool.
Yeah.
Well, and at some point it straight up looks like people are just getting sprayed down as the years progress. Like it's just straight up, which is we now see what it is today, but yeah.
Yeah, he started to do that, like I said, he started putting people in the little water pools that were in the back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, figured, okay, that's okay. No, it wasn't.
So here's a comment. BD's always wondered if Russ had some traumatic event with water that kept him away from it, but drove him to want to use it against others, since he has OCD, but doesn't seem to have a fear of. It follows up with germs, although he meets all the other components.
No clue if he was afraid of water or anything like that. He, you know, had no problem using like some of the water, like in the autopsy room or something like that. We had something that would spray. You know, we had that. We had the toilet that exploded. You know,
Mhm.
that's that. You know, that was the water right there, and he never, appeared to be afraid of any water or anything like that.
Okay.
I think like my opinion is like if it matters, my opinion is, water is one of the easiest things to there's so many different things you can do with it. You can make it gross, you can make it hot, you can make it cold. You can, if someone's blindfolded and you stick their hand in just a, a liquid of different temperatures, they don't know what they're feeling. And you can make the water a different consistency.
Different color.
And it's different.
Different colors.
And it's relatively safe compared to something like fire or a different or a different substance. You know what I mean?
I feel like it started like that, being innovative, and then eventually once people's heads started going underwater, and he realized, well, that's an easy way to terrorize somebody. That's an easy way to get somebody real scared, because that's a very scary feeling for any human being to.
Well, a thing that Russ told me personally many times when I asked him what was the deal with all the water, he said it was a great equalizer. Nobody could beat water.
Well, yeah, you can't breathe. Humans don't have gills.
Right.
Well, you can't breathe underwater.
Another comment that question I've been seeing is his props. Were these homemade props, or where did he get all these props from?
A lot of the props were actually bought. Yeah, different like haunt exhibits and stuff like that.
Okay. And were those purchased by Russ himself?
Yeah, stuff that he had. They were good, like $5,000 pieces or whatever. They were up there.
Okay.
The only thing that was, bought down the street was maybe the chainsaw.
Okay. And that was all you with that chainsaw, wasn't it?
I think Brendan had a question. I don't know if you saw that. Brendan wants to know, is Dino the actor that would get handcuffed and chainsawed by the other actor in the last room?
No, I was the one chainsawing everybody in the last room.
Okay.
Them out the haunt and chasing them down the street.
Yeah, okay. I hope that answers your question, Brendan. It is kind of nice. I mean, despite the fact that obviously this turns into a really, really sad story, and thank you so much for joining us here on our last real episode of Before It Just Goes Boom off the cliff in the home haunt years. But it is, the silver lining is it's kind of nice to reminisce about the times where it wasn't too much.
The good old...
And sounds like you guys, like the neighborhood it was in was a nice neighborhood. People all knew each other. There was block parties, that kind of stuff. I mean, I remember those days from growing up too. So it's sad that it evolved.
Did Russ ever do anything to make you question his mental health?
Honestly, if he didn't usually appear anything that, would make me question it. Then, he wanted us to do, what was best for the camera and stuff like that.
So it was always about the camera, not about the person going through.
He wanted, best for the camera, best for, the person going through is that was secondaries. We had to watch their safety.
Safety is paramount. It's in the opening credits of the Manor videos.
Did you ever think did you ever wonder, like, what, because he filmed literally every single tour. Did you ever wonder, like, what he would do with all of that?
Honestly, he was saying he was going to take it and he was going to piece them together and put the videos on like YouTube and stuff,
which we saw we saw some of that. But
he'd also do is he'd get them together and, like, I want to say the 2012, he'd get them together and all the videos of those people. If they signed the waivers, they probably put their like your email address, and he would email the video or whatever.
Okay, so he would give people their movie. Yeah, that became a big thing, was and kind of like a reason to come is like, oh, you'll get your own horror movie,
it was promotional material.
And about that haunt that I loved is the fact that it was free. Anybody going through was free. The only thing you had to do is donate dog food because we donated everything to Greyhound Rescue because he had a bunch of Greyhound rescues.
I think I saw Feeding America one year too. So, like the Greyhound Rescue, and then one was a different charity, obviously. But yeah, that I think would make anyone think like, wow, this is a good guy doing a good thing for the community or for animals, you know?
Okay. Did Russ ever have any crazy ideas that didn't work out because it was just too much?
No, because he was the boss.
Hmm.
I mean, he tried to float a couple things by, and most of the time it's he's the boss and he wants to go with it.
Thank you, bunnies, for another gifting of the membership. That is so amazing. So I got a question. I want to go back to these kids in the pool because it's bugging the hell out of me.
I'll be right back.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
To these kids in the pool, like, it's never safe to just, I mean, anything can go wrong when you're submerging somebody's head underwater. Now, submerging a person's head underwater is not uncommon at an extreme haunt. That does happen, but these people are trained usually to the person going through. And I know Danny Burke, who is a YouTuber that we went to Crucible with, afterwards he was telling me, it's like, yeah, man, they slammed me underwater and it was crazy. Well, when he looks back at the footage, he was like, they barely even pressed my head under the water. And he was like, just, it felt so different. Right. So my thing is these kids are probably really aggressively doing it. Did you ever witness a time that you got scared and thought somebody's going to die?
There was a couple times I got nervous that because these kids, they're kids and they, the adrenaline's flowing, you're having fun. There was a couple times I had to put hands on them, say, hey, knock it off, because they were getting a little too rough or whatever. And, people are not supposed to stay underwater like that for, too long.
Right.
Especially if they got a hood on their head or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you don't, if you don't have a time to catch your breath, I mean, a second or two is enough. Yeah. That gets the fear in you. That's no different than dunking your friend in a pool, right? But the second you're holding them down against their, with restraint, against their will, that's when it's dangerous.
So there was no safety training for these high school kids at all. For these, I guess you call them a little bit more dangerous stunts. Like, no.
None. Otherwise, a quick walkthrough with them and stuff like that. That's about it.
So these people being held underwater, were they only the adults that happened to, or was it all ages?
Towards the end, it was only like 18 and over. 18 if you had like an adult that signed a waiver, and then it was all adults.
How was the youngest? What age do you think was the youngest that went through or that got held under the water?
Youngest was maybe a teenager or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think I remember when we did our phone interview before this, you had said that kind of like as the haunt progressively got a little more rough, the age started going up. Like you had the younger kids back in like the earlier 2000s coming through, and then as it got more handsy, I guess, it kind of was just known that like it was just teenagers. Was there ever an age limit, like a set age limit when you worked there?
Yeah, like I said, towards the end there, he put a limit saying you had to be like 18 and over, or if you're like 16 or whatever, you had to have your parent sign or whatever for you.
That was when you worked there?
It was right towards.
Okay. So 18 plus or.
Oh, we're going to get to this question, but really quick. Don't cry, Boston. 4.99 super
Thank
chat.
you, Brianna.
Thank you, Brianne. So Dino, Taylor asked, were you there? Because we've all heard this story before where one of the neighbors got a hold of the weapon and tried to hit somebody with it. Were you around for that?
No.
No.
We had one of,
Yeah.
but we never had one of the neighbors get one of the weapons and try to swing at us or nothing like that.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a story, I think it was an axe. There was a story that one of the neighbors went like, and
It was the one from the Haunters movie.
yeah.
I think somebody said it was 2016.
Grace. Yeah, wasn't that Grace?
Yeah, Grace.
No, the 2016 was when it, they're talking about the chamber tour being 21
gotcha.
and up. Yeah. We'll get there, guys, trust me. So technically we're on 2012 right now, but we're about to jump into 2013 and then Sunday will be 2014.
So we're about to wrap up our time with Dino, but why don't you give some closure to what happened, why you ended up leaving and parting ways,
and how the confrontation even went between you and Russ.
Well, pretty much, I parted ways because at the time I was going through a divorce, and I wanted my kids to grow up right. So I was heading back this way, because I grew up. I'm from the Boston area, and I grew up in Boston.
Yes, I knew it.
Newton. I grew up there, and I brought my kids back there to, so they were raised right.
I lived 12 years in Brighton. Sorry, I'm very excited right now because I did not know we had this connection. Sorry. Yeah, okay. And the ch is also from Boston. Woohoo! Okay, sorry.
I kept in touch with him for the most part. I wasn't crazy about what he was starting to do or anything like that. I kept touch with him, watched the videos and stuff of what he was doing after I left, and it was like, nah, dude, you can't be doing that. It started going downhill, and then he basically shut me off and blocked me and stuff like that. But I still kept in touch with Carol and talked with her quite a bit, and she was even, I felt so bad for her because she was in tears of what he had done, not just with the haunt, but with personal life. Mm-hmm. A girl that was younger than him, and right in front of her, and here's Carol working her butt off and paying for most of everything that was in that haunt.
And did you ever, I could have sworn you had told us a story, I should have my notes up, but I could have sworn you had told us a story about you reaching out to Russ sometime after you had left and trying to have a conversation with him.
He reached out to me.
Oh.
He was trying to set up an actual full-time haunt in like Arizona or something like that. And he had asked if I would like to come through and either be part of the haunt or, at least come check it out. It never came to fruition or anything like that. And that's, where it ended.
Mm-hmm. So that was some years later. I believe that was 2016.
Yeah.
When that happened. Yeah. So you left because of your own personal reasons going on in your life, obviously, but you did make it known to him that you weren't cool with the direction he was going.
Right.
And when you did make it known to him that you weren't cool with these things, what was his reaction to you?
Basically, his reaction was, STF, it's mine, my haunt. I can do whatever I want. Mm-hmm.
So I have a quick question before we go too far forwards. So in my experience with Russ, like with every female, with the exception of Carol, he seemed to be super possessive over. You said like once you had made your exit that you had continued to speak to Carol for a while. Did she ever make mention to you? Did he know you guys were talking? Did you ever feel like he was angry with you for continuing to speak with her or anything like that?
Oh, because at the time, again, right when I was leaving, he was starting to see that other person.
Holly?
Really?
I
that
can't.
early?
She was younger, and she was also married too, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And
Maybe it was
Yep.
involved.
No, Holly was married.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
but I thought she didn't come into the picture until like 2016.
Starting to think might have been a little
Yep.
earlier.
Wow.
Yep. It's time to get back to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dino, any parting words before we let you go?
other than I hated seeing the direction that it went, because it like I said, it was such a great haunt, such a great experience to work in. I love doing it. I still love working in haunts if I can. I still love Halloween. That's my favorite. I still love dressing up. There's no getting around that.
Do you like the paranormal by any chance?
It's okay.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, now that I know that you're local, sorry.
All right. Well, Dino, thank you so much for your time. We will be in touch to keep you updated with everything that's been going on. So thank you for sharing your story with us. I think it's really helped connect a lot of pieces, and let the people watching know that, like, that's the sad thing about the story, right? Not only do people later get hurt, but at this stage, there was something good that had potential and a lot of love and care into it by those that worked it. And it
Years
was
of it, yeah.
one person that just couldn't have limits, that just took it too far and ruined something good. So, Dino, have a great night. We appreciate you having you up.
Stay in touch. If you're not already in the group, I don't know if you are, but feel free to join our Facebook group, McKamey Manor Road Trip, and stay in touch, because this is our McKamey Manor series that we're doing, but Kris especially in this one love haunts, love Halloween. I think we talked about this. I'm terrified of haunted houses, but here I am. So so stay in touch, and thank you so much, Dino.
Thank you.
Have a good night,
It was nice
Dino.
to meet you, Dino.
Care.
You too.
Well, that was great having Dino up. For everybody, keep with us. We are about to dive into the year 2013, and we have some more stuff just ahead. Hold on 1 second. All right. So
the missing year.
The missing year. So
dun, dun, dun.
We will talk about this more in depth on the next episode. So we're going to graze over on a slight subject here. In 2013, there was a new location about to open in a ranch. However, it didn't pan out. And because of the moving from location to location, 2013, the haunt did not run. On our next episode, we have a person that was around from 2011 to 2014 that will bridge the two, eras of the manor together.
Yeah.
And we start to see.
And who also got a chance to work on. If you guys have been following the series,
don't give spoilers.
I'm
Do
not
give spoilers.
But if you guys
Boston.
have been following the series,
that is my job.
If you have been following the series, when we covered 2012 and we showed those clips, we got a preview, because at the beginning it's Russ saying, announcing, you guys are about to watch the 2012 clips, but stay tuned, because 2013 we're going to be at a brand new location with all this room and all this stuff. So that essentially is also
Do you want to just do the whole episode 5?
Was that a spoiler?
Do you want to just do all of episode 5 right now? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay.
That's like a blip in episode 5.
Okay. Yes, it really is. We already have that done, and that will air on Sunday.
See, people like my spoilers. They want them.
They just want to see me get upset. Don't let them sway you. But in 2013, Russ went to a convention called Scare LA. This is a very popular convention that still runs, I believe, today, or maybe Midsummer Scream took it over. I know that that guy in chat would know that answer. But
oh yeah,
we have a panel, and we're going to watch the panel together now, where it's Russ with the creators of Blackout and the creator of Hell's Gate. And Hell's Gate, people might not know.
Freakling Brothers.
Yeah, which was
Yeah.
Victim Experience.
The Victim Experience.
They mention it slightly in this, but they call it Hell's Gate a lot. So just for those that know the name Victim Experience, that's what they're talking about. And when we watch this, we really want to point out for you to pay attention to Russ's answers compared to these professionals that are out there.
And also to keep in mind that the year that this happened, this was either the very end of 2012. I don't know when it was. Do we have a date of when exactly it was?
It says 2013.
Okay, so probably early 2013 would be my assumption.
Probably.
Hey guys, I'm gonna mute for a second and go cameraless. It's starting to rain, and I gotta take my garbage can to the road.
You do what you
You
gotta
do what you gotta do. But I want people to keep in mind that this interview is kind of cool because they're at like a convention for haunted house and horror, and haunted houses and horror, and the panel that they do, it's like these extreme haunts were very brand new at the time.
Very new. And yeah, so let me pull up our first one. This is in 4 parts. We're going to go through all 4 of them. There will be some parts that we will fast forward through, but we do want to hear Russ's explanation.
It's extremely eye-opening. Oh, explanations. And
thank you.
The person who was videotaping this, I believe, like holding the camera, I believe was Dallas, which would make sense with the timeline. It wasn't one of the adult actors, probably went to the convention with him. I don't know who else was in the audience. It's possible maybe Carol was there.
Yeah, I mean, we would be assuming that it's Dallas, but it does make sense. It does make sense. I just don't want to say it is and then it not be. All right.
Oh, and he does these silly little intros.
Was this the one that didn't have audio at first?
Yes.
I love it because like when you get like iMovie, it's like you have all these cool star wipes and fades and transitions. And Russ was just eating it up and he had to use every one of those. And we see
Carol was there.
Right there.
There's Carol.
And so there's 2 creators of Blackout. Kris usually is not very in front of the camera. It's rare to find an interview with him. However, Josh Randall is somebody that we see a lot and is talking.
Why are there so many Joshes and Krises in this community?
Josh Randall from Blackout. Please welcome your moderator, founder of
I'm the only one with a K.
That's true.
No, actually, I think the guy from Blackout's name is with a K too.
Really?
Yeah, I do think so.
That's cray.
Good afternoon, Scare LA. How are you doing?
All right, so this is the host of the panel, guys. Obviously.
Everybody having a spooky good time?
Way to spoil it, Boston.
Yeah. What's been your favorite thing
Boston.
Yell it out. Louder.
Stop it.
Dad just came in to scold us. All right.
Right? Wicked lit. Fantastic. Have you guys seen that?
Russ's editing is literally the worst.
All right, well, I guess there are a few Halloween fans in the house, yeah? So today, we're going to have a unique panel for you. Theme Park Adventure
It's a bit quiet, yeah.
With Scare LA, and they asked us what kind of panels do you think should be
Is that better?
At our convention. And
I don't know. I'm nodding yes.
aspects of
Brianne was the
haunting
one who
that's
said it was a
really
bit
taken
quiet.
off in recent years are extreme haunts. Anybody ever been to an extreme haunt before? Right? If you don't know what an extreme haunt is, basically you go somewhere, you wait in line, you get banged over the head, taken by yourself, kicked in the ding-ding, and had a bucket of blood poured over you. And you walk out a happy camper 3 hours later. That's an extreme haunt.
So now,
do you have a response to this?
That is the next chapter.
Well,
and what's really hot.
One, I think he's just being comical with it, right? But
You
two,
got kicked in the ding ding.
now Blackout has always had a very loose narrative. Now, Blackout isn't a direct storyline, right? You're not a certain character, you're not following certain characters. Blackout is a lot of
It's very
artistic,
theatrical art, and they explain that in their answers.
Yeah, and so I want to say at this time, Blackout does have a story, right? McKamey Manor does not have a story for their shows, and Victim Experience was no longer going when I got into this world, but from what I have seen and heard, it was more of an endurance test, and I don't believe there was a storyline with it. I could be wrong.
They're going to explain. Yeah, they're going to explain all that.
Yeah, so I just want to note for the people watching.
And what's really, really popular, not only in the United
Someone
States,
suggested
but around
subtitles. I don't know if they're.
We did
That's
the
an
Gates of
option.
Hell, which is their extreme maze, and had never experienced. I mean, we do over 25 haunts every year. We cover as TPA. Never have we done anything like this where we were electrocuted, we were put in a firing line and executed. It was pretty damn intense. And so JT's going to give you a little presentation here and gives you a taste of the crash.
So he talked about a firing line. If you visit 17th Door, you can experience that.
Oh,
that is
yeah.
one of their big tricks. And I mean, it's a straight up firing line. 17th Door has a loose story as well to it. I know there's people in here. It's an extreme haunt and they work there. I put that as very entry level extreme haunt.
You get zapped.
You do,
haircut,
but I think if somebody went to 17th Door and said, I just did an extreme haunt, I can take on any extreme haunt out there, and then you went to Miasma or Crucible or Fear Experiment, it's going to be a whole new game, right? And I think that could throw somebody off and maybe give them a bad taste to what an extreme haunt is.
Right. Before you press play, so I think we should pause when we're going to talk because people want to hear what they're saying.
Sure.
But maybe volume up a tad bit more, and then also, are we going to watch their intros or just skip?
I was going to skip.
Okay. Sorry. You got it, boss.
I just kind of want to show who the people are. So this is JT Young, I believe is his last name. That is the owner of Gates of Hell.
Easy on the eyes, I might say.
Sports 101 and what to expect in Freakling Brothers in Las Vegas.
Hi, my name is JT. I'm from Freakling Brothers horror shows. My dad started scaring people in our garage in 1977. I was born into it. Continued to do that for a number of years, and in 1992 went commercial. We opened a haunted house called the Circus of Horrors. It was the first freestanding haunted house in the state of Nevada. And
so I want to talk about what a freestanding haunted house is because it's a really cool thing. And this is also something Russ adapted to and would talk to me a lot about. Basically, it's trailers, it's storage units. And they can travel with them and set up anywhere because fire code, if you are using storage units, you do not need a sprinkler system. One of the reasons why we see the storage units on the property today was an idea he was hoping to get into.
Even though a barn is still being used without sprinkler.
So, but Ron Manor in Michigan is a boo haunt. And if you go to this place, it is elaborate facades. You will never guess in a million years that you are going through storage units room by room. Absolutely amazing. And it just shows that it is very possible to have a haunt and do that. So
where'd you say this was?
This is in Las Vegas. This is Freakling Brothers.
No, I meant the haunt you're talking about.
Michigan.
Sweet. Okay. I'm gonna have to look into it.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones that I go to every year, Ron Manor. It's absolutely wonderful haunt. So that is his story. We're going to skip ahead here, and we are going.
I mean, the Manor part kind of makes my butthole pucker up a little bit, but we can look past that this time. Chris, if Chris with a K says it's okay, it passes.
Been to McKamey Manor in San Diego? All right, you're about to get a bloodbath. Crash course here, kids.
It's very
My
fun,
God.
very friendly.
The bowling shirt.
My name's Russ, and we have just a simple little average run-of-the-mill Holton haunt in the quiet little suburb of San Diego. You wouldn't know it's anything special whatsoever, but it's rather fun. And you know what? Let's just watch the movie and you might get an idea what it's all about.
Brady McDonald, LA Times. As you can see, I'm bloody, soaking wet, and terrified.
So this is Russ's first kind of announcement that we're extreme.
Nobody's gonna save you! You're all alone!
Heather.
I think I know who that actor is in the background there.
Yeah, so it's interesting that 2012 footage is being shown.
Let me out!
But it's going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is JT single? Just
help me! Yes, please let me out! Please!
He has all this footage, right? And then he has these horrible still shots.
I want everyone to keep in mind that most of the actors, except for 2 in everything we just watched, are teenage kids. I doubt it too. He's too handsome.
Let's go, pony! Yay! So much fun the pony is to ride. You better listen! Walk like a fish! Swim! Ah!
Here's that kiddie pool.
Check out that water.
1, 2, 3, 1!
And the exercises. That all started in 2012. Okay.
Too loud?
Sorry. Yeah, a little. Thanks.
Don't, please, 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 please don't, please don't, please, 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 please don't. Why did you come here? You're all gonna die!
2 to 3 hour tour.
Right.
But he'll tell you it's only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll see a little bit of that on Sunday. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Boston, you're grounded.
I know. Look at the binding of the hands. Okay, also, this is an exceptionally... I know we're going to skip past the other intros that the other guys do. But just so you guys know, the other guys gave, like, real short, simple intros. This is, like... Russ came with this huge, long thing.
Yeah.
The guy came with a PowerPoint.
Yeah. Yeah, the other guy did have a PowerPoint.
He did, yeah. To be fair, he showed, like, 5 photos, and that was it. And then Russ comes up with this.
I can't do that.
Russ is so extra. All right.
All right.
And then Operation Greyhound. Yeah, it just goes on
We
and
don't
on.
even get to Josh Randall in video 1 because his video was so long.
Yeah.
It's only 3 hours. You need 3 hours. That's all.
Sunny San Diego, bring the family. Wow. I'm drained just watching that. And that egg thing. Oh,
He looks
hell
so
no.
smug.
Yeah, I'm drained just watching that too.
Yeah.
So let me get the other video up and going.
Yeah, because I promise you guys want to hear, if you guys have not seen this panel yet, you want to hear these answers. They are eye-opening. To me, they were at least. Because we have to remember, this is a look inside a mind before the extreme hunt started.
Extreme hunt.
Did I say it weird?
Hey guys, I'm having a power crisis, so I'll be in the comments, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you for being up here, man.
Yeah. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Yeah, Boston. Your Boston was showing.
Was it? It's because we had Dino on. I knew Dino was from.
We had an extreme hunt.
And this stupid intro at the beginning of each of these clips.
Okay, so we're just going to hear Josh kind of do a quick talk, and then we'll.
All right, Josh is here, and he's going to tell us all
And
about
he's
it.
cute too.
Hi everybody, my name is Josh Randall. I'm from Blackout.
I'll stop.
And
Sorry.
we've been running since 2009. We send everybody through by themselves. You have to be 18 or over. You have to sign a waiver before going through. We put together 3 of our appreciation
I'm laughing at a
for you,
comment.
ranging
Sorry.
back from 2011, 2012, and then one from 2013. And I'm just going to let Blackout speak for itself. So.
All right. So, blackout videos don't show much. It's mostly just
No, but it's
text.
very well done. Like, it's clearly artistic.
Yeah.
Like, it was very well put together. It didn't show all the, like, Russ's was like, come look at all these people just screaming in people's faces and throwing blood on them and spitting at their face and tying them up and making them do jumping jacks.
So I've got my own questions, as I'm sure you do, like what the hell was that? What I would like to know from the panel is what disturbing moment did you decide to deviate from the standard haunted house or haunted attraction and go the extreme route?
That's what I
What damage moment happened with you guys that made you say, you know what, we're just going to torture people and scare the hell out of them?
I'll start.
I think that's a fantastic.
That's a fantastic question.
I think that's a fantastic question. Why go and become an extreme haunt? Like, if you got a good haunt, or if you just do regular haunts, why do we need it to be extreme?
Well, and you're going to hear from the answers here. Spoiler alert, that not necessarily all of them.
Do not give.
Okay, I guess we're going to listen.
Okay, so I'll start. And it's potentially maybe the easiest for me. My partner Kris and I, who create Blackout, we have a history in theater. We've never worked in the haunted house industry before Blackout at all. And we had been doing weird experimental avant-garde shows of classic plays from Chekhov and Shakespeare and very crazy intellectual stuff like that. And basically it was approached, we approached it as a theatrical endeavor, as a way to really affect people and to use sort of all of the stuff that we had learned and we had been working in with theater to create something different. We ended up putting Haunted House on the title as almost purely a marketing ploy to do a haunted house in the middle of the summer, even though as far as we were concerned, it was really just a strong piece of theater. And all of a sudden, within a couple of months, we were officially part of the haunted house industry, and sort of, you know, a lot of people were talking about it.
So it was never
So
the haunt industry for them to begin with. It was
Right.
theater.
It was theater. And as I stated earlier, I felt out of the 3 there, this was the only one that told some form of a story.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly shows right there. That's why. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to
Well, he's
here.
about to, like, any second.
Oh, yeah. I hear Mr. Showman.
Almost by accident fell into the haunted house industry. It wasn't really our intention, but we're certainly happy to be here.
Nice. Who else?
Well, for me, it's, we've been doing haunts forever in San Diego. It started out all cutesy and nice and everything. And I was doing haunts, in the Navy, on ships, when I was out to sea, didn't matter, I was doing haunts someplace. This is kind of fun. But the audience, when it started getting into the fun, extreme kind of stuff, and it wasn't anywhere as crazy as it is now. I mean, now it's a matter of, we have to top ourselves every year, so it's getting worse and worse. So this year, it's really insane. And Rick,
you just said it.
Yeah, why? Why do you have to top yourself every year? I mean, I get that you want to improve. Yeah,
right.
We have
he says
to.
We have to, and we have to do because the audience loves it. I think for him, it was, and I've been saying this as we've been following the series, the more those exit interviews are someone who's either peed their pants, is crying, is shaking, is traumatized, the more he saw that and captured that on film, the more he was like, I'm doing good. I got to keep doing whatever scared that person. And now, up it, and up it, and up it.
I want to say something. I don't think it's bad to always top yourself every year,
right?
To make it better. However, his next sentence was, "It's worse and worse." Mm-hmm. Like, why not add better effects? Create more of a storyline. Have better actors.
Mm-hmm. Or, start, great that you were doing it for charity, but maybe start charging a little bit here and there, get a property, get an actual building. If this is something you're really passionate about, there's a reason this series is named The Rise and Fall of McKamey Manor. And this is it right here.
Bexy, Freakling Brothers is still around. However, Victim Experience isn't. So they do still have, several haunts. It's almost like a scream park is what I would call it. And Blackout has been gone since before the pandemic. I believe 2019 was the last year. However, there's rumors of them coming back this October. All right, let's go back to
Russ's
the video.
My friend here, he hasn't been through our haunt yet, and he needs to review the haunt, don't you think? But he doesn't want to come through, so I think he ought to come through the haunt. Don't you think so? Yeah.
This guy's like, don't fucking clap.
I don't think there is enough alcohol on the planet.
Yeah, it's just 3 hours. You get through 3 hours. It's okay. And so it just kind of
started as
two. In the audience was having a great time with it. So the more and more we got into it, and all the little traps and scenarios, just kind of grew from there. And that's kind of what the audience now expects out of this. So we went back.
That's what the audience expects.
A winner for them.
And he hasn't done a 3-hour haunt yet.
I'm a filmmaker for the rest of the year, and I've been telling my dad for like a decade, I just thought that the films that do the best, the horror films that do the best, are always rated R horror films. When I was 13, 14, I didn't want to go see a movie that was PG-13. I always wanted to go see a rated R film. And I really thought, as we were trying to compete with, all the other haunted houses kind of popping up in Las Vegas, I thought it would be a great move to do a haunted house that was geared for adults. But we didn't know what we could get away with. So we had everybody sign a waiver, and initially we just kind of had, actors lightly touch people as they go by. And we pushed it a little bit further, because people were actually complaining that we weren't doing enough to them. By the second year, it got really brutal. We've been sued 4 times. We won all 4 times. But people know what they're getting, victim experience. And it's a risky thing to do. I'm sure you guys probably feel that way. I mean, every night we have to hire our best actors for that show. And we have to make sure they're trained to do very specific things. We can't hire crazy loose cannons to be in that show.
Pause. Meanwhile, okay, so he said a few things here. He said, then it got brutal. We've been sued 4 times. Again, everyone remember the context of this. This is the kind of the beginning of extreme haunts out there. And he's explaining his side, right? People were going to his shows and were like, this is awesome. And also like, oh my God, I hate this. Like, this was not what I was expecting. But then he goes on and says, we had to hire the best actors, put tons of training into it. He is sitting next to a dude. He is sitting next to this, what would you call that shirt? Like a bowling shirt? Anyways, he's sitting next to Russ McKamey, who's looking at him like, mm-hmm. And his staff at the time, and I know this for a fact, was all teenagers and preteens except for 2 adults.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like early 20s. And there was a lot of loose cannons. Well, there was a loose cannon who was crazy.
I think the key word is hire.
Hire,
when you are paying
right.
a person, there is more responsibility to it. It's not volunteer. And I think when it comes to extreme haunts, like, I know there are some volunteers out there that do stuff for extreme haunts, but they usually are in some form part of that business, right? And they do other stuff with it, and it's well trusted, it's well trained,
right?
And
which we'll hear more about.
Yeah,
thoughts
so
on
let's
training.
dive back
sorry,
into
I
it.
just had to pause because
we can't have people getting molested. So
foreshadow.
Harry, thank you. Oh my gosh, and Bunny just did another one. You guys have been super generous and super supportive.
You guys are amazing.
We
really
appreciate it.
both, all of you.
Yeah, they're just trying to make me cry.
It's a risky thing to do, but for me it was extremely satisfying, very gratifying to do something, to build something that I would want to go to. And it's great. I mean, people
another
leave
difference.
the show and,
I want to build
and you
something
ask them
that
how they
I would
liked
want to
it,
go
and
to.
a lot of people say it wasn't really that fun.
How many times does Russ say,
I would never go. I would never do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting too.
For making it through. So, I don't know, we're very happy with it. Right?
All right, well, I would like to talk about show space for a little bit, because the show spaces that these haunted attractions live in are greatly different, I think, than one another. So, like I said earlier, one of the things that really struck us when we went to Freaking Brothers is that everything was so contained, literally, in these truck containers, these truck trailers. I've been going to haunts for a long time and covered a lot of haunts. I'd never been in anything like that before. And we were so impressed by the level of detail that Freaking Brothers pulled off with this. I myself am a designer in the theme park industry, and so I think to myself, that's either got to be a.
Do you think Russ is sitting there? He's like, "Fuck, I have a backyard."
Or it's a.
Well, yeah, because he just.
You're given your footprint. This is what you got to work with.
This interview.
So
I hate that I can't pause it when I want to pause it. This interview.
I hold all the control.
We don't know if it happened before or after Russ found out that he lost this dream property of this ranch that he was going to build, like, actually with like plywood walls and all that, like build a real structure. So I don't know if this interview was before or after. I have a feeling it was after he lost it. Because he gets a little salty.
I mean, look at him. He looks really sad right there. He's looking at the ground. He's looking at his socks that couldn't be pulled up any higher.
The more this goes on, the saltier he gets, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because he realizes he's sitting next in between these professionals, and he sounds like a freaking douche canoe. Sorry.
Yeah.
In October, we don't.
Why don't you read it out loud?
Okay. I volunteer at a home boo haunt in my neighborhood in October. We don't touch, but we're said to be up to par with some amusement park haunts. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think that, like, really Russ could have gotten there. He could have. All right, let's continue. Sorry.
Well, we thought it was going to be limiting at first. It was the easiest way to do it because we could set up in a day, but we were worried at the beginning that it was going to be like people were going to walk through and it was going to feel like a show at a carnival or something. So we tried to do exactly what, and thank you for all the kind words. It was great to know that you liked it when you came. But we decided to play, to use it to our advantage, you know, and make haunted houses that are claustrophobic, tight spaces. They're scary. You know, when people are in tight spaces, they're scary. So we tried to use it to our advantage.
And Russ, what about McKamey Manor? Where does that live?
Well, it's right there in hometown USA. So you're looking at, it's a garage and it's a backyard.
So now we know.
And we use every piece of space we possibly
Now we know
can.
that this interview was
We
after
really
he lost the
creative in
ranch.
what we do. And it doesn't show in the movie, but we have a lot of high-end special effects back there too. All kinds of animatronics, all kinds of eye candy. But I have more fun because I'm there with each and every group filming them, so I have more fun watching them and you know, more than anything else, that's the joy I get out of seeing all their smiles and stuff, or you can call them smiles. So yeah, so it's just a backyard and a garage, and it's just a matter of using the space wisely. But it's not a big area; it's no bigger than what anybody else has out there at all. So it's just smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors.
And Josh, what about Blackout?
I like how Josh kind of laughs.
Blackout lives kind of anywhere and everywhere that we can actually put it. And I know that sounds a little silly, but it's actually true. We've done 12 shows in 5 years. Some of those shows have been in the hotel rooms. We've done them in the back of a cargo van. Last year in LA, our space was 8,000 square feet. This year it's 2,000 square feet. The space we're using in New York right now is only 1,600 square feet. It's very, you know, it's 24 by like 64 or something, which in I think
so Blackout always moves.
Intensely small.
Yeah.
We've done things in public spaces. We've done things in phone booths. So for us, it's we don't
creative,
use,
immersive,
blood. We don't
extreme
use makeup.
theater.
We don't have special effects.
No blood, no makeup.
So for us, it's easy to sort of just pick up and walk into a space, turn off the lights, and start.
We will definitely do that.
And start like that.
All right, Boston, why don't you take the floor for a second while I get the next video.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we do talk over some of this. I know some of you guys want to be able to hear, listen. Is the volume okay?
The reason why we have to is for a copyright.
Well, that, yeah, we have to, but we can pause.
We can pause.
We're just chatty Cathy's. We also have watched this before, so we both know the parts where, like, we want to be quiet.
I didn't even have to watch it because Boston told me everything that happened before.
Listen, there's benefits to being the world's best spoiler alerter. I'm really good at breaking down. Oh my gosh, Taylor!
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Taylor, thank you,
man.
You guys are all amazing. We appreciate every little bit of it. We're going to start making cartoons to play when stuff like that happens.
You should. One of just a cartoon me crying.
I'll just record one of our phone conversations.
And you with a cup collecting my tears.
When you do start, all sorts of
captions.
terrible things happen to your guests. And as Russ was talking about, you know, you try to up yourself every year. So then the question would be, where is that line? Is there a... Now you're all deaf, right? So where is the line? Is there a point that you will not, I mean, short of being illegal, is there a point where you just...
Can you turn the volume up a little?
I mean, I guess I'll start. Yeah, it's funny. I have a personal thing. I mean, I'm not going to.
Holy cow!
But
thank you.
I have a line of just personal, something that I really don't want to cross. My partner Chris has a line that he won't cross, but we also kind of cancel each other out usually. So content is never.
A good friend of ours for a long time that's been in this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for making
Don't
Boston
press
cry.
play yet. Don't press play yet. So just to thank you guys so much. Like, this means I never thought we would get to this point in our channel where we could have people like showing us this. The support means the world. I just want to make sure we don't lose what the question was. The panel. What do you call the person? The MC.
Yeah, or the host.
The host. So the host asks, what is your line that you will not cross? And these answers are very, very interesting. So just keep that in mind. What is your line you will not cross in your extreme haunt?
And we had another one by BD.
Thank you. B.
Thank you.
Really off limits for us. I think the difficulty from our point of view is, as Russ was saying, it's about the people who come back again and again and having to up the game from their point of view. And I think the way we approach it is that there are many different ways to scare somebody. You know, you can do the traditional haunt, you can do the blackout haunt, you could do any of the haunts that are here, and everybody kind of approaches it from a different point of view. Some are more psychological, some are more physical. And I think from Kris and from our point of view, we just continually try to innovate the way that we're scaring people. So, a couple of years ago, all anybody was talking about and writing about was the waterboarding and sucking on a tampon. That was just the two things that everybody.
I wasn't going to bring up the tampon.
Okay.
You want to tell
Should
the
we
story?
address the tampon?
Yeah, because they are known for
So
that.
many people talk about this. This is a very common gag throughout extreme haunts and some just touch haunts, right? Where they will take a tampon, soak it in clam juice, hide it on their person in some way.
Which, first of all, clam juice, really?
Yeah, it's clam juice.
I know. I'm just saying, people, we need to normalize menstruation, people.
It's just a point that they've been trying to prove.
Sorry, I had to say that. I was like, he's either gonna laugh or kick me off panel right away. Hashtag normalize the bleed.
Thank you so much, Donna.
Donna! That's our first pound symbol. Thank you.
Oh, yes, from our friend overseas. Yeah, okay, I got what you meant by pound symbol. I was like, there's no hashtag Boston. So
go with the flow.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry, this is getting out of hand.
So yeah, it's clam juice. Blackout started doing that. It was extremely controversial. So if you hear people say their sexuality is in haunts, they use dirty tampons. They're not dirty tampons.
Well, here's my thing. What I really liked about his answer, and thank you for explaining that. What I really liked about his answer, and you could see Russ dagger eyeing him because he know a lot of the answers we're going to hear in these interviews are like, these guys are basically dogging him,
Yeah.
But he says there's so many ways to scare someone that why would you just do the same thing over and over again, make it physical or make it jump scare, and it's really sad to say, but there are sexual elements in a lot of extreme haunts because, sadly, that is a terrifying thing in a lot of situations.
It's real.
And it's a real fear. There are people that have dealt with sexual assaults, trauma. That is a fear. It is its own horror genre. So yeah, it is something that does come up in some extreme haunts. And I think that artistically and being creative with what fear is and how it's different for everybody is not a bad thing at all.
Brianne, thank you.
It also adds to a level of uncomfortableness, which then makes someone more vulnerable and you can scare them. Brianne, stop it! I can't handle the love. I can't do it anymore.
Thank you so much.
Too much.
So I do want to address something. I know a lot of the people watching this at this point know this, but Russ himself is a victim of a sexual assault, which is why the manor doesn't have that, and that's why he emphasizes so much on that. Now, is there darker stuff?
That's his explanation.
Yes.
We can't sit here and assume that other owners of extreme haunts haven't.
No, I'm saying that's his stance and why he says he doesn't have that stuff in his haunt. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a whole nother darker side on where that goes, and we will touch on that in this series. However, we're not there yet. So, when these people talk, my experience with Russ too, if somebody ever brought up any sexual type of conversation, he gets very awkward. He gets very intense and doesn't want to be a part of the conversation. So you'll notice this in this interview.
I mean, eventually it becomes part of his, not his waiver, but like whatever forms, like his questionnaire for contestants.
Mm-hmm. The
And then
screening process.
The screening process. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It were you sexually assaulted? And if so, did you go to the police? And if not, why not? Like, why would you ask that in a screening process? Sorry. I think blackout is the main one I'd like to do. Yeah, you think I could handle blackout?
Probably. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm really starting to think, the more I learn about them, the more I'm like, I feel like extreme haunts. Huh?
I think you could do blackout and fear experiment.
Yeah.
You brought it.
I don't mind talking about it. Happy to talk about it. We're not going to do it again. But those are like the two things that everyone has been talking about for years. And so we made a very conscious decision after that to, push farther into the psychological realm to sort of, upset the expectations of people walking in the door. So I think from us, it's not so much about kind of how we scare them. It's really the context in which we present the show. Because, fear is fear, and there are only so many ways to really make it work.
I love that answer.
I guess for me, ours is 18 and above haunt too, but it's not 18 and above for content, but more for the.
Thank you.
Thank
Random
you so
girl.
much, random girl.
You got to say it like girl.
Girl. Is that how we say girl?
GRRL.
Girl.
Physicalness of the whole thing, because there is no cussing. The only cussing you hear is from the audience. So the actors don't cuss. There's no nudity. There's no sexual content.
Is that not the exact opposite? Like, we've been watching these videos, the actors are cussing.
No, not yet. They haven't been.
Oh, okay.
They will. So he says 18 plus, and it's only for the physical stuff, really.
Random growl.
Because everything else is like PG.
It's random
There's
growl.
no cussing. It's a growl. Like random growl.
Oh.
Girl.
No, it's not. It's growl.
Just growl. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. So now he's going to say how there's no sexual contact. Can you back that
for
up,
me,
actually?
that's a big deal because I want to keep that out of a haunt. That's here's for the audience. So the actors don't cuss. There's no nudity. There's no sexual content. For me, that's a big deal because I want to keep that out of a haunt. That's my personal take on it because there's enough bad things going on out there in the world that I don't want to put that on somebody else. That's just my personal take. So ours is actually pretty much a PG or PG-13 event. It's just that it really is.
Pause.
I ain't never seen that shit on Bambi or any other Disney
I know.
show.
So the audience laughs. He says it's a PG event. I also want to say, he says no nudity, no sexual contact, because we don't want to like put people through. There's enough awful shit in the world. We don't want to put people through that. Since when is sexuality or nudity, or sexual content in general, since when is that like a bad thing?
Right.
Obviously it's something that he's got a personal issue with, and that's okay. That can be his line. But it's very interesting to me that this is his line and not like, well, we want to make sure that no one passes out. Or like my line is that I wouldn't drown someone.
See, and I want to address this. I think Russ isn't a prude. I think he is. This is his
way
thing.
deeper.
Yeah, this is his thing. Like, I think that this is my personal opinion. Like, I think on Danny Burke's series, he pointed out when they had the adult movie star on with him, and she pointed out that he talks about painting people's faces. These are all terms,
humiliation fetishes.
Yeah, and we see that when he's spraying people in the face with stuff. I mean, he sprays people with his hose. I don't gotta say anything more than that. Come on over to my house, spray my hose.
What the hell movies are you watching?
Yeah, what the hell movies are you watching?
Indiana Jones Adventure. You've gone through it, you know that.
Indiana Jones Adventure.
But it's fun to grow up.
Yeah,
and he still uses that with Reckless Ben, which by the way, go subscribe everyone to Reckless Ben and Danny Burke, both of their channels. They're doing an amazing series. We love them, great guys. But Reckless Ben, before he went through, Russ described what he was going to go through in 2023 as an Indiana Jones ride on steroids. And he literally just said this in 2013. 10 years ago. Yeah, I agree. Did I just hear Russ?
Okay. Russ was extremely adamant about sexual content, so much that he would ask some of the weird. Yeah, 100%, and we will be diving into those questions.
We will. We're gonna get there once it becomes.
It's a fun throw up. So and it's lit. I mean, there's not a dark area in there. So you've got a camera, lights on it, stuck in your face the whole time. There's not a single dark spot in the whole hunt. So you can scare people in the broad daylight, which is kind of funny too. People think, oh, that light's gonna be. It doesn't matter. After 2 seconds, they forget the light is there. But so for us. For me personally, that's my little line. I'm not going to cross into the adult area. That's just a personal thing that I don't want to go with. But there you go.
Now, JT, in going through Gates of Hell, I can assure you that your actors swear. I was F-bomb, Johanna was C-bomb, so
C-bomb is scripted.
There you go.
You didn't like that, did you?
Notice he says scripted. They have a script.
We don't have any limitations.
So there is some
as far
kind
as
of
content goes at all. We do have profane language, all scripted profane language. We do have some semi-sexual content. No nudity, but definitely some semi-sexual content. As far as
semi-sexual, it's like Justin Bieber.
Just the tip. There's actually there's one spot. I don't really have a line. I think we keep pushing it a little further, but I think that causing pain without leaving an injury is the important thing. We do inflict pain, and we're constantly looking for new ways to inflict more pain without leaving an injury, because if we leave an injury,
interesting
then we broke the law.
BDs.
So, but yeah, that's my man.
Yeah, and he's not kidding. We were waiting to go into one of the rooms because there are pulse points in Gates of Hell, and we were waiting to go into one of the rooms. Johanna was in front of me, and Satan's bride said, you can get in there, you bitch, whatever she's going to say to her. And she has these long fingernails, and she did them down Johanna's arm, and I saw electricity arcing. And I thought, oh, hell no.
So electricity,
and then she came behind me and did it right down.
I was just saying, there is some kind of storyline within the experience that they're describing with the Freakling brothers. Yeah. Scripted, like having some kind of script for your actors. Things are scripted. That stunt with the electricity going through the nails on somebody's back. And Russ is looking and listening to all this and laughing, and just keep in your head as you're hearing these other answers what Russ must be thinking about his own hunt,
There really was just a tip sexual moment. Freakling. It was hilarious.
It's hilarious.
All right.
The small of my back, and it was not pleasant. And I'm pushing on Johanna, and she's like, "Why are you pushing me?" I'm like, "Because it hurts." You're like, "Hell yes!" This is no joke. So
she didn't get you in the face. Huh?
No.
Usually does that.
Thank God she's not a proctologist. Okay. But that's still unpermitted. Is there nudity in Blackout?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't kind of. We're coming from a different standpoint. Blackout has extreme adult content, as similar to what JT was saying.
Extreme adult content.
We'll swear we do have very strong sexual content as well.
You just got 100 new guests.
That's why I said it. Yeah. But listen, that's actually part of the point. I mean, we want to use material that is controversial. We want to use material that is shocking. It puts people off guard. It makes them intensely vulnerable. And I think one of the most important things that we found about nudity, all kidding aside, is that there is no artifice there. And I think as far as Blackout's concerned, we don't like blood. I mean, we just don't like monsters and things like that. It's just not, I personally like going through those kinds of haunted houses, but that's just not what the Blackout experience is. It's more of a realistic thing. And so for us to be able to
that they
really
do, there's a reason behind it.
Costume and makeup and special effects and animatronics and set pieces that you can, for lack of a better term, hide behind and really actually clue into the interaction between two people in a room.
That was a mic drop on Russ right there. He just named everything in Russ's house haunt, and then you can hide behind.
There's
Random girl.
Scary territory.
Extreme haunts will definitely tell you if, right, Kris? I don't want to answer for that because I've never been to one.
I don't see the question.
I don't really want anything adult in my scare attraction.
I would say then extreme haunts probably aren't for you.
Because most of them have
some sort somewhere. You can probably relate something besides the manor, which I feel like it's there. It's hidden, but it's there. But yeah, all these other ones, there's some form of it mentioned at
whether
least.
It's nudity or like verbally talked about or something like that. Yeah.
Territory that you can go in with just human beings, and that's what Blackout tries to do, and that's why we use sexual content. That's why we use nudity. We feel it breaks down that artifice, puts the audience on guard, and just kind of makes whatever scare tactic we're trying to use that much more effective.
Right. That's great. I'm sure the audience has questions, so we want to open this up to the house. Do we have a microphone? Do we have somebody that has a mic? We have two. Okay. Bonus.
I think Russ gets like
all right. Are
the
there any
questions
questions
except
for the
this
panel
first
here?
one.
We have one right down here in the front. Here comes your Mr. Microphone.
I'm definitely the audience for this, and I consider myself healthy enough, sane enough, and I know what I'm getting into when I sign a waiver when I come to someplace like this. So my question is for you, JT. Like, what did you get sued over, and why would anyone turn around and sue you when they're inviting you in? Could you
listen to this answer, everybody, please, because I think it explains a lot about expectations versus reality, and then of course consent. Part of realism, however, it has to have a purpose and boundaries. Love you, Chase. Sorry. It's nice to
elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Can't talk a whole lot, but one of the lawsuits, we learned a lot our first year. One of the lawsuits came from, we had to raise the age limit. We started off with a 14-year-old age limit. We didn't have sexual contact when it was 14, but we had to raise it to age of consent, age limit. There was a girl who came through who was 16, which saved us. It's the reason we won. But her father was very upset when she went home and said somebody had licked her. Nobody licked her. We have a little sponge that we use with one of the characters. Feels like you're getting licked, but it was a scary day for us because it was the first week we opened. We were doing really well, and we got a call from this guy who said, "I'm going to take you guys down. Like, you're done."
Love you.
And in Vegas, when you hear that, you're going to end up in a shallow grave outside of town.
You are. Yeah. I'll tell you what though, this guy calling us and going on the news. He went on the news that night. Said his daughter.
Thank you so much, bunnies.
Thank you.
You gonna cry?
No.
Was molested in our haunted house. We never ever had bigger crowds than we did the next week.
I don't really like I will say I don't love that he made a joke about that.
I think him because
but that he had a point. Like the dad had an issue with her being licked. It was actually a wet sponge. Blah blah blah. Just the joke. The joke about
the joke was pretty tasteless.
That was a little tasteless. In my opinion.
13th floor. I mean it. I have not been to one called 13th floor, but I know there are several across the country.
Didn't you want to buy that?
What?
Are we talking about a different thing? Isn't that the one that you're like, oh,
no,
I want to buy that? Okay.
No. But I have not. Well, all right.
Yeah, getting licked is a common complaint at a lot of haunts, mainly boo haunts. Interesting. Like personally, I'd be like, ew, but I don't think I'd like make a big deal out of it.
Well, what I think happens, right, at these boo haunts, they get close. They get in your ear, they whisper, it's hot, it's muggy, you feel something, right? Anything could brush up against you, and your mind plays that trick on you, and you assume that is what it is. Hey, long time no see. What's up, Nicole?
Hi, Nicole. That's a good idea, B.
Poop Shard should sign up. I think
we're trying to leave Poop Shard out of this series. I know we're having fun. This is more of a lighthearted episode that we're doing in Rise and
I'm going to make different animations depending on where we're at. Yeah, but I believe really there is going to be Poop Shard cartoons.
There will be Poop Shard content.
All right. We still got one more video after this.
He really launched us. Like without that guy and without that lawsuit, we wouldn't have been known all over town. So, but we've been sued a few more times. Nobody won. We've been threatened and had lawyers call us. People sign the waiver, but a lot of people don't read it. I don't know. I mean, you probably walk them through it a little bit, right?
No, actually, no. We may. Unfortunately, we kind of make a point of not walking them through it and letting them read it on their own. But I think and I'm just going to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, because I think one of the most important things that people forget: a waiver does not mean they can't sue you. A waiver is nothing more than a piece of evidence that they bring to the trial when they sue you. So even though in the waiver it says, I will not sue you, that doesn't mean anything. Anyone can sign anything. So
any victims who have been through McKamey Manor who want to pursue legal action, remember this.
And I'm actually really well versed in all that as well. As one can imagine, Blackout has also had our fair share of lawyers and legal problems, and we are also currently getting sued. So
just so that rumors don't go out, I can assure you 100% that Poop Shard profile is not Justin. And there might even be a Facebook page if you look hard enough.
You just said the name that shall not be named.
Oh yeah, my bad. Oh,
this
whatever.
Is McKamey Manor Rise and Falls.
And although and while I can't also speak to some of the specifics of it, I think ultimately to sort of answer your question, people don't read the waiver, and I think they expect something when they're walking.
Meanwhile, Russ is listening to all this, because this is like pre his 40-page waiver. Russ is listening and he's like, I'll just put everything in my waiver.
Right, yeah. But if I have everything, then I can't control for anything.
Right.
I get hate mail from both pro and anti people.
Yeah. I mean, not even hate, like, tune in tomorrow night, everybody, to our kind of public PSA live, I guess.
Yeah, we'll touch on that right before we go. So let's finish this up. We got a minute here. And
stop getting distracted by the chat. Stop being such good chatters, everybody.
Market it, and I think the same thing happens to movies when it's NC-17 and you say, "Don't come here. It's this kind of content," and then people go see it, and then they come out and picket it. And you're like, well, why would you go in the first place? And they have a sort of preconceived notion of what it is that they're expecting to see.
I believe this is when Russ picked up the "you've been warned" mindset.
All three of us, we try
I think he stole it from him.
We try to do things that are maybe not controversial, but we try to do things that are effective to our audience members. And when you affect people positively, you also affect people negatively as well. And so all the adoration that I'm sure all of our haunts get, we all have to deal with the negativity of somebody walking out of that, or at least I mean, I can say from Blackout's point of view, we've had several people that have come out and said, I've been assaulted, I've been molested, I've been raped. And the fact that you can do that and have people pay for it means that you're sick. And, it's a very interesting argument to have with somebody. It's a tough place to be, but to kind of full circle back to the waiver, waivers don't mean that they can't sue you.
And I think it's important that you understand too that we have extreme haunts, the three of us, but they're not common. There aren't many. So most people who walk into our haunted attraction, even if they get a waiver, they think it's mainly for effect. And they sign it, no matter how much we tell them, read the waiver, read the waiver, read the waiver. They sign it and they're like, yeah, we're going into a haunted house. And so the minute they walk into a haunted house, they think nobody can touch them. They're not, there are people who get very, very angry in the first room and we have to remove them. Most people are great, but people are expecting a haunted house experience, and this is a victim experience. It's different.
Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of haunts have I think every extreme haunt has similar issues. It's just that the difference is with Russ, most of those complaints are completely valid because there isn't consent is not honored and safety is not visible. There is no training for the actors and whatnot, you know.
I just have to pull this on a later document. Are you sure you want to do this?
I don't know if he has bowling shoes on, but his socks are killing me, man.
Oh man. Okay. This is the last video. A lot of questions from Russ here. So
no, this is the victim experience, Luke. Huh? Luke says not to be confused with the haunt, the victim experience.
Yeah. So the victim experience is being talked. That's who JT is.
Yeah.
Being part of an extreme haunt is nerve-wracking simply because people like to get so happy. We all go into each show taking the risk. This is why you train your actors and do your best to
have
them understand the risk. Threw me off there.
I'm sorry. I know. I was trying to help. Then I realized it sounded like I was teaching you how to read and I felt bad. But thank you, Chase. Like that's a very good thing for people to understand.
And Crucible, their training process is absolutely amazing. I've seen it firsthand. Mm-hmm. And I can only say,
wait, don't you run all of it? Don't you own it?
That's the rumors that go through.
That's the rumor. It's like yours or something.
It takes mutual respect, trust, and understanding between the actors and the participant. It's all about trust. Mm-hmm. Look at this, and we have a love Crucible.
Why did you just?
It's because I went to click off the one and then it did the other one.
Not that it's a bad comment.
Happy you're enjoying your Pringles.
Yes. Okay. Last one. This is the last one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Some of the most eye-opening answers are in this clip, in my opinion.
He's right. I mean, they are not common occurrences, these extreme haunts, which is why we pulled them actually from Nevada. Being Scare LA, our emphasis here has been we want to showcase the people that are part of this community here in California. And really, besides Russ and now Blackout, I don't know of any other extreme haunts like that in the state of California. And if there are, then they're horrible at marketing because I have no idea who they're after. So we pulled JT from Las Vegas because, Las Vegas might as well be part of Southern California because who doesn't go to Vegas? So that's why he's here. I'm glad you guys all are. Any more questions? We have right here. Yep, that's you. Here comes your microphone.
So I've lived in San Diego for 20 years, and I've never heard of you. So I'm just curious.
I was just joking about the marketing side.
Yeah.
Like that. It's really low profile. It's low profile for a reason because I don't want a gazillion people. This is a very exclusive.
What are you doing?
Okay?
Can you hear me?
This year, starting this year, again, it takes 3 hours.
I said pause like 3 times.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I couldn't hear you.
Really? Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you now.
How pissed. That was a pause-worthy moment. How pissed was Russ when that lady goes, I've lived in San Diego 20 years, and I've never heard of you. Look see? They're laughing too. Yeah, I've never heard of you. He is pissed.
Yeah, he is.
Oh my god, because at this point he's already been on the Travel Channel. He's already done, had all this. He thinks he's so big and famous. So, okay, sorry, continue. I was just psyched that lady said that.
Some of these comments in chat, I don't want to get distracted. They're funny.
I know, stop. We have to not look at it the whole. I know, the chat, they're doing too good at chatting.
2 people at a time, you and your buddy.
and you're not getting out. So it's a very exclusive situation. So reservations only. I don't want the crowds. I've had the crowds. I've had fights out in front. This guy got really ugly last year. Death threats coming to our house, coming to us, our family, because this one individual couldn't get in, had to get the police involved. So right there I said, forget that noise. So now it's down to reservations. Now we have 17,000 folks on the reservation list, but email us, we'll get you in. You know, so it's low profile for a reason, for sure.
17,000.
Another question in the hat there.
Trying to finish the video, boss.
Yes, I know, but there are points we have to make. He said, so his response to her was basically like not to acknowledge her and just try to make his haunt sound super scary. So he says, 2 people at a time, you and your buddy, and you're not getting out. 17,000 people on the waiting list, which I think that number has always been a lie. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought people were like, at one point it probably was, but not anymore.
No.
Okay, yeah. I've heard people say that, and I'm like...
17,000?
Yeah, I've heard people say that. Like, maybe it was back then when it was... I was like, I don't think so.
No.
Anyways, 2 people at a time, you and your buddy, and you're not getting out. I feel like he may have decided you're not getting out right at this moment. Sorry, continue. Because of that lady.
So, no. So, in that video that he played, it said no quitting.
Yeah,
No
I was joking.
Okay. I can't tell your jokes.
That's because you're not funny.
I've been an actor for about, this will be my 5th season in Bakersfield. And I heard about extreme haunts, but I never knew anything. I knew Blackout, but that was about it. But what are the requirements for an actor to be in one of those extreme haunts?
Well, for me, you know, again, I have a lot of eye candy back there for folks like to see all the fun and cool stuff. But for me, it really is about the actors. And I've got one of my actors right here. He's Dallas Lamb. Dallas, stand up right there. He's this guy. He's an active duty Marine. He's currently serving right now. So he's heading off to Afghanistan again. Because we're open year round. You're hurting what we're doing, but okay, but we're glad you're going out there. So I need guys like Dallas who can improvise, who are just really aggressive, who can put on that Marine Corps face, and he's the nicest guy in the world until you get him in there, and he's like, he's his drill sergeant, he's all over you. So that's what I need as an extreme person. And I don't need a whole lot of folks too. I only need a few individuals for my hunt to rotate through, room by room by room, area by area. But just someone with a lot of improv ability and a lot of really crazy attitude, and that's what works for me.
Okay. So
Hold on, I'm writing.
So while you're writing, I will speak it.
I just finished.
Okay.
So everyone listen to this. We're repeating what he looks for in his actors. What's important for the actors is improvise, be really aggressive, like drill sergeant, Marine Corps in your face, and a lot of really crazy attitude. And then that's his answer. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Now listen to these other answers.
I mean, chat's already on the same page.
They're already on the same page, but everyone listen to him get his...
By far the most important thing for us, because we don't use animatronics at all. Everything is live actors. And so the casting process is pretty intense. Like, we see a lot of people and we have a long casting session, but for an extreme haunt, when we look for people to be in the gates of hell, they have to be responsible. They have to be big, imposing, scary, but they have to be very together, very responsible people who we can trust, and hopefully don't have, a record with too many bad things. But yeah, we look for responsible people who are also great actors, who are of age.
I'm going to play both.
There was an interview that my creative partner Chris did, who is one of the co-creators of Blackout. He did it last year, and I actually think he said it really well, so I'm just going to repeat what he said. That the biggest aspect that we look for in casting actors is kindness. And I know that sounds really strange, especially coming from Blackout, but it is 100% true when, especially within our environment, when you're by yourself as an audience member, and there's just you and another actor in a room, As the creators of the haunt, we have to ensure your safety within that room. And so we need to know that the actor that we're hiring is responsible and mature and kind. They're a kind person and they're not really going to hurt you. When we interview actors, it's funny, I feel like I'm saying a lot of what you're saying, but like it's a very intense process. The difference for us is we barely see anybody. I almost cast almost everybody I meet. We'll never make anyone do a monologue. We'll never do a scene. I'll never make you scream. I'll just sit across from the table with you and have coffee. And within 5 minutes, we know everything we need to know about you and whether or not you're a good blackout actor. Acting is, for us, secondary to actually just being a kind person. Usually when the lights are off, we can get a lot of actors to do crazy things and make it work for blackout. The important thing is the safety and the safety of the audience members. So that's really the biggest thing, one of the biggest things we look for.
All right. Yeah. I mean, those responses, right? All three actors. That's their biggest thing.
Well, the question was about actors.
Yeah. Well, what they look for in actors.
Right.
All three said scary, intimidating. Right?
They said big. So their answers was yes, we look for big, imposing, scary, but very responsible actors who we can trust. Kindness, responsible, mature, not really going to hurt you. The safety of our audience members is number one. And what was Russ's answer?
Look for the most intimidating guy that's going to do aggressive things.
Improvise, really aggressive, drill sergeant, Marine Corps in your face, and a lot of really crazy attitude.
Yeah.
So.
Some stuff in exactly red flags. If a participant gets hurt and you don't care,
Oh, wait until. Please come to the Sunday show.
Russ's very intense process is recruiting teenagers and putting them through what they will do to others.
# spoiler alert. Yep.
Them blackout owners are classy. Yes, they are.
All right. So we have a little bit more to go through. I know it looks. Yeah, but there's, I think, another maybe 2 questions.
Do you guys have safe words and how often are they used?
Sure, I'll go. Yes, we have a safe word. The safety word is safety. We actually did a tally in the last 3 years, over the last 3 Halloween seasons. 1 out of every 7 audience members would call the safety word. But for us, you can call the safety word and get pulled out if it's too much for you, but we can also call the safety word on you if you are not abiding by the rules, or you're not doing what you're supposed to do, or you don't want to complete the task at hand. So for us, you're not allowed to go farther if you won't complete that task. So our safety word is safety 1 out of every 7.
For a haunt, no, there's not. But I'm there for every group, every single group. So it's my judgment when things are getting out of hand. And normally speaking, it doesn't happen. I mean, everybody's really aware of what's going on. They know about the haunt. They signed the waiver. They've seen the video. So they're there for a reason. So they understand what it's going to be about. Every once in a while, I mean, maybe.
No, there is no safe word at my haunt, but it's okay because I'm there for every single show. I'm with them every single step of the way. It's my judgment. And I am mentally unwell. And that is known. And there are a lot of people that have mental illnesses. I myself have mental illness. So I'm not hating on the mental illness part of it. But it is an unwell person who is saying, I don't need a safe word because my judgment is the best judgment. Not because I have the best experience. I'm medically trained. I know all the safety laws and, it's just, I'm there, so I don't need a safe word. Sorry, continue.
One person per season just cannot take it and handle it, and we have to let them go. But that's my call. They know that once they're in, for the most part, they're in. And that's how I get that great footage when they cross that line and they go over into panic mode. That's that's fun stuff.
I figured you'd want to talk.
That's why I get the great footage. When I cross that line is when I get the great footage.
Right.
How many times has he said that? How many times has it been told that this is all about the footage for him?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, continue. I haven't had one coffee today, guys.
It really is fun stuff. You're right there.
I'll mute.
We do have a safe word. We won't let you out if you don't use it, period. I mean, we've had people begging and crying to get out, and we will not let you out unless you use the safe word. It's part of the experience. But we definitely, the safe word comes in handy. We get, I don't know, 1 out of every 6 groups, somebody uses it. We pull them out, and it's good. It's not a long experience. It's like 14 minutes, 15 minutes. So it's not like you guys, hours. I wish we could do that. But usually, I mean, it's good. It's good effect too. If somebody leaves, we feel like they got their money's worth. We wanted to scare them, and it's definitely necessary, I think, to have a safe word. I mean, I don't know what's going on in your place, but cool.
We'll come down and take a look.
I'd like to.
All right, another question. Right here in front.
Yeah, this is for us. If you're only letting people in 2 at a time, how do you calculate your cost, money? So.
Well, there is no cost. I mean, I do what I do purely for the love of the hunt. There's no money involved. To get in, it's 2 cans of dog food that get donated to Operation Greyhound Rescue. That's your price of admission, 2 cans of dog food. Can you beat that? Can't beat that. So that's why, so I'm not concerned about that. I'm not concerned about volume or anything else. I'm concerned about giving those 2 individuals the craziest, most intense experience that they're ever going to get. We're putting all our blood and guts into 3 hours, literally blood and guts, 3 hours just for them, those 2 folks. So I want the best of the best. I want people that really appreciate that kind of thing. I don't want the ones like, oh yeah, whatever. I want folks, the true hardcore hunt fans. And then the more fun you're having, the more fun we're going to have. And heck, we'll go 4 hours. It's all good.
Why not?
Why not?
Don't play with Russ. We'll go 6 hours.
We have a little.
I want to point out, we heard that voice. Don't play with Russ. We'll go 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That is coming from behind the camera. That is Dallas.
Dallas, who has been, we've talked to multiple, you guys met Dino, but we talked to multiple people that were involved with the hunt as we get into these extreme years that we're about to dive into in this series. And multiple people said that Russ was very, very close with Dallas, that's when all the kind of military type things started within the hunt. So,
all right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
A little bit more time for questions. Here we go, right here. Here comes your mic.
I think you could be right, actually, Bunny.
This question is for Russ. Pardon me for trying to word this.
You hate me.
No. I'm very curious because
here comes what?
The people to your left and right they're professionals. They charge for tickets, and you do this because you very clearly love this.
Because you're a sicko.
But it also seems like a time commitment. It seems like a lot of your spare time is spent standing and watching people scream and put a camera in their face. And I was curious if you could talk more about what it is that you love so much about this, that you would devote so much.
Well, I love it
because he's a sick bastard.
Yeah,
And the guy who asked the question said it, like, that's why they asked.
I just love it, man. I've always loved it. And with the help of my girlfriend, Carol, I've known for a gazillion, 30-some odd years, a big supporter of all this. Because if she didn't like it, I'd still be doing it. It better be a lot worse. So I just love it so much that, I don't mind at all. I mean, every second is either on the hunt, working on the hunt. It doesn't matter to me. That really is my pride and joy. That's my enjoyment. So I love it. I love being there with those folks because it really is like watching them go through their own horror movie. I mean, they're just amazed, and I'm amazed, and they're amazed, and we're all amazed together. It's just so much fun. So it's pure joy for me. I mean, I just love it.
Amazing.
Everybody's amazing.
We have one more question. One more question right here in front. Did you have a question? Who had a question? There you go.
So I guess for us also. So you do this year round. I assume on the weekends, right?
Yes.
People don't get it. People are realizing that this is weird.
Right.
HOA?
What do you say?
HOA.
Oh, no. Neighbors. Luckily, we got some cool neighbors, but here's the trick.
If they don't like it, they get the next treatment or something?
Well, we brought them through as well, and they go through once, and they we'll leave them alone. You know, they try to warn us, that's it. Shh. But, so the way it works, though, is that it's designed that this thing can run at noon. So it's just as scary whether it's 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't matter when you go through it.
So you have a nooner is torturing someone.
Absolutely. So who cares if the lawnmower's going on in the background, people edging their yards, it's all good to go. But the audience doesn't matter. The audience doesn't know whether it's midnight or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we can get away with it because we're not running all night long. But when we do run at night, we're very specific. We end for sure by 10 o'clock at night. But again, we can run all day long, so who cares? It's a party, come on over. You know, it's good stuff.
And JT, I just
Thank you so much for joining,
your
Chase.
has one
We
of the most
appreciate your
innovative
input.
Fast pass system I've ever seen with the t-shirt.
And I believe that was the last question.
I think that was the last for us.
So.
But man, just the stark contrast between professionals and him, like with those answers that's the third time I've watched that interview now. And yeah, we will drop the link for that interview. I think.
Yeah, as soon as this ends, we'll put them in the Facebook group.
So you don't have to deal with the subtitles or us talking over it or whatever. But yeah, eye-opening, and I think a very good last thing that we watch before we jump into 2014.
So yeah, I do want to touch on some of the stuff because we have a lot more people here than when we did when we first started. This week we have a lot of content coming at you. I will hit first on Sunday. We have episode 5 dropping. This is going to be a premiere episode. It's not going to be live, but we will all be in chat. So if you want to watch it at the same time as us, we can answer questions in chat while it's going. It was an episode we had to pre-record for several reasons. But content warning, there is...
very sensitive topics.
Many, too, at that. Like, this is when the horror stories that you hear about and you wonder if they're rumored, you start to see the truth.
Yeah.
Very eye-opening, and if at any way at this point in time you were still somewhat a supporter of the manor, it speaks a lot about you after you hear this interview, if you still are after it.
Has this person ever been interviewed before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe, I don't know. Josh, I think, may have. I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so, because he was with us and they didn't know each other.
Oh, yeah. So then maybe not. Or JM might have, or Ron might have.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know if we ever asked the person that we interviewed if this was their first time. But let's just say, it's going to be... That was one of the reasons it was pre-recorded. Also, just with our scheduling, it's been a crazy week. We have a participant who went through in 2014 that we are going to be interviewing soon as well, and they will be on a live. So, yeah, 2014 is probably going to be a few episodes, I would say.
I think
maybe 2.
I think
3,
the best thing that we can do, because I think it's going to get shuffled all over the place.
Yeah,
I'm thinking 2014 to 2017 is kind of going to be a jumbled. We're going to go back in time
we may
and
talk
forward.
to Lori.
Yeah.
And then go back in time. And
right.
Talk to
so it's all the same.
Yeah.
We're looking at now the extreme error.
Lori, we are going to be interviewing Lori.
Yeah.
And that might have to be pre-recorded too because of scheduling.
Yeah.
Conflicts.
So we have some coming. Tomorrow night we have 2 lives. We see a bunch of new members in the chat. So tomorrow night will be the first members only live. That will take place after our first live tomorrow, which will be a public one for everybody. But everybody's been asking for Brandon's response to some of the allegations that have been out there.
And this doesn't have to do with McKamey Manor. It has to do with a different haunt. So
we are going to address those live.
Yes.
So that will be at 8 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern?
Yep. Probably around then. Yeah.
Definitely tune in for that. And then right after that ends, we're going to go into a members only live if you're part of the Real Talk membership. And then next week, for those with the Loyal2Doyle and the Real Talk membership, expect some trivia coming. We're going to do a trivia live.
That'll be fun.
We have a lot more exciting interviews in the works for this series. The series has only just begun. So 2.5 hour live tonight. This is our longest one yet, but I think
my fault.
I think there was a lot of important stuff covered here tonight. And it was a little bit of a lighter second half of a lighter night for us. All of you in chat, you guys are killing me with some of those comments. They were hilarious. For all of those that signed up for memberships, were gifted memberships, gave super chats, all of you, thank you so much. Honestly, you know, even if we had nobody sign up for this stuff, this is an amazing feat that because of all of your support that we are able to do these lives.
Well, and it makes us feel good. Like, it makes us feel like what we're doing is important and it is something that people want to hear or see or talk about, and that the research and the work that we've done is beneficial for the people that support us. So it means a lot. You like the more lengthy ones. Well, that's good. I do too, but this old man needs to go to sleep.
So, yeah, you guys we can't thank you enough. And what we make from those, we're going to put back in to bring you different types of content and different types of experiences. So, can't wait to keep doing this. So everybody, good night. Thank you, Boston. Thank you, Josh, in chat. Thank you for being up here, and Dino for coming up. I appreciate all of you, and everybody have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. What?
There might be two, Brianne. There might be two. But it's okay, because I know the thing that you're doing, and it's not extremely lengthy every night, so you'll be able to make them. Okay.
All right.
Goodbye.
Have a good night, everyone. Goodbye.